Hello and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. We survived the Battle of Ostagar barely, but we had to be saved by Morrigan and her mother. Alistair also survived, but aside from that we don't know much other than the fact that Tailor Logain betrayed us all.
As you say.
Key required. And now we have to look around a little bit. We can also level up. So I think now I will go with 1 dexterity, 1 cunning, and then 1 constitution for this level. Just to boost my constitution a little bit. Let's go also further into coercion. Since we can, deadly strike. Do I want to go a little bit into dual weapon? For when I switch to melee. The character has become more proficient fighting with 2 weapons and now deals closer to normal damage bonus with the offhand. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that at least. I think that makes sense. For this. Can I talk to Morrigan more? She has anything else to say?
You must speak to Mother, then be gone. You have an army of darkspawn to avoid, and 'twould be best to get an early start.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we asked all of that.
You were welcome. Though Mother did most of the work, I am no healer.
You didn't say
I will
thank you.
stay and make something to eat.
Okay.
See, here is your fellow Grey Warden. You worry too much, young man.
You're alive. I thought you were dead for sure.
Afraid you were going to be left alone?
Duncan's dead. The Grey Wardens. Even the King. They're all dead. Oh, this doesn't seem real. If it weren't for Morrigan's mother, we'd be dead on top of that tower.
Do not talk about me as if I am not present, lad.
I didn't mean... But what do we call you? You've never told us your name?
Names are pretty, but useless. The chastened folk call me Flemeth. I suppose it will do.
The Flemeth? From the legends? Daveth was right. You're the Witch of the Wilds, aren't you?
And what does that mean? I know a bit of magic, and it has served you both well, has it not?
True. So why did you save us? Yeah.
Well, we cannot have all the Grey Wardens dying at once, can we? Someone has to deal with these dark spawn.
True.
It has always been the Grey Warden's duty to unite the lands against the Blight. Or did that change when I wasn't looking?
The land is hardly united thanks to Logain.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would he do it?
Now that is a good question. Men's hearts hold shadows darker than any tainted creature. Perhaps he believes the Blight is an army he can outmaneuver. Perhaps he does not see that the evil behind it is the true threat.
The archdemon.
What is this archdemon exactly?
It is said that long ago, the Maker sent the old gods of the ancient Tevinter Imperium to slumber in prisons deep beneath the surface. An archdemon is an old god awakened and tainted by darkspawn. Believe that or not, history says it's a fearsome and immortal thing, and only fools ignore history.
Will you help us fight this Blight Flemeth?
Me? I am just an old woman who lives in the wilds. I know nothing of blights and darkspawn.
Well, whatever Loghain's insanity, he obviously thinks the Darkspawn are a minor threat. We must warn everyone this isn't the case.
And who will believe you? Unless you think to convince this Loghain of his mistake.
He just betrayed his own king. If Al Eamon knew what he did at Ostagar, he would be the first to call for his execution.
Oh, Eamon, is there someone important? We heard that name several times before.
I suppose. Al Eamon wasn't at Ostagar. He still has all his men. And he was Kaelin's uncle. I know him. He's a good man, respected in the Landsmeet. Of course, we could go to Redcliffe and appeal to him for help.
What do we say? Yeah, keep in mind that Loghain was an honorable man, too, or at least considered an honorable man.
The Owl would never do what Tailor Loghain did. I know him too well. I still don't know if Al Eamon's help would be enough. He can't defeat the Darkspawn horde by himself.
We need the rest of the Grey Wardens.
I don't know how to contact them, or if they're even on their way. We need to do something now.
You have more at your disposal than you think.
Of course! The treaties! Grey Wardens can demand aid from dwarves, elves, mages, and other places. They're obligated to help us during a blight.
I may be old, but dwarves, elves, mages, this Arl Eamon, and who knows what else. This sounds like an army to me.
Yeah,
So can
sounds
we
like
do this?
it.
Go to Redcliffe and these other places and build an army.
I doubt it will be as easy as that, though.
And when is it ever?
It's always been the Grey Warden's duty to stand against a blight. And right now, we're the Grey Wardens.
So you are set then, ready to be Grey Wardens.
I don't suppose you could offer any more help?
Now that you mention it, I do have one more thing to offer.
The stew is bubbling, Mother dear. Shall we have 2 guests for the eve, or none?
The Grey Wardens are leaving shortly, girl. And you will be joining them.
Such a shame. What?
You heard me, girl. The last time I looked, you had ears. Ha ha!
Thank you, but if Morrigan does wish to join us...
Her magic will be useful. Even better, she knows the wilds and how to get past the horde.
Have I no say in this?
You have been itching to get out of the wilds for years. Here is your chance. As for you, Wardens, consider this repayment for your lives.
Was this your idea all along?
Pardon me, but I had the impression that you two needed assistance, whatever the form.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but won't this add to our problems? Out of the wilds, she's an apostate.
If you do not wish help from us illegal mages, young man, perhaps I should have left you on that tower.
Point taken.
Mother, this is not how I wanted this. I'm not even ready.
You must be ready. Alone, these two must unite for Eldon against the Darkspawn. They need you, Morrigan. Without you, they will surely fail, and all will perish under the Blight. Even I.
I understand.
And you, Wardens, do you understand? I give you that which I value above all in this world. I do this because you must succeed.
I understand.
Allow me to get my things, if you please.
Sure. Take your time.
I am at your disposal, Grey Wardens. I suggest a village north of the wilds as our first destination. It is not far, and you will find much you need there. Or if you prefer, I shall simply be your silent guide. The choice is yours.
No, I prefer you speak your mind. I have no problems with your presence if Alistair doesn't. Actually, I do have some questions.
I may have answers. Ask.
Are you really Flemeth's daughter? Are we doing like a maternity test here?
'Twas she who raised me, and thus I consider her my mother, born from her womb or not. 'Tis what you meant, yes?
I mean, it's just difficult to imagine her...
Young, married, pregnant. Who said she was any of these things? I certainly did not.
Well, fair enough, I guess. Have you ever been outside the wilds?
From time to time. I have been to the village I mentioned, watched its people, and pondered what curious beings they are. On occasion, I purchased goods from the village merchants. There I spoke with men a little. There they stared and knew me as an outsider. Mother wishes for me to expand the horizon of my experience beyond the wilds. Even she was not born here.
So is that what you want?
What I want is to see mountains. I wish to witness the ocean and step into its waters. I want to experience a city rather than see it in my mind. So, yes, this is what I want. Actually, leaving is harder than I thought, however. Perhaps Mother is right. It must simply be done quickly.
It's not that easy to leave everything behind. Tell me about that village in the north.
'Tis a small place of little consequence called Lothering. No more than a stop along your imperial highway where travellers purchase goods from local farms and smiths. I would go more often were it not for the town's chantry. It makes the village particularly intolerant and unpleasant for a stranger such as me.
A chantry? And they never in all this time thought that maybe you were a witch?
Of course they have. They even called out their Templars once. They found nothing.
I see. Is there any reason to go to Lothering then?
I mention it for its tavern, where travellers gather with news from other places. 'Tis small enough that our appearance might go
Sounds
unnoticed.
good.
Beyond that, 'tis close, and I know the way.
Okay. And how are we going to get past the Darkspawn?
The real question is how we are going to get your friend past the Darkspawn, is it not?
That's true. We can sense the Darkspawn. Conversely, they can sense us.
I like that we're not even wearing pants still, but that's neither here nor there. I don't sense any Darkspawn.
You won't right away. No. It takes time.
Okay.
We should be able to sneak past smaller groups, but larger ones, or particularly intelligent Darkspawn, will always detect us.
Mother has given me something else for them to smell instead as we pass by. 'Tis important we head out of the wilds, however, not farther in.
I see. The Darkspawn are camped farther in the forest?
They come from underground, like an eruption. They broke through deep within the forest, and that is where they will be most concentrated.
I see. So what skills do you have exactly?
I know a few spells, though I am nowhere near as powerful as Mother. I have also studied history and your Grey Warden treaties.
Can you cook?
I can cook.
Jeez.
Yes.
Then you can substitute for Alistair.
Right, my cooking will kill us. That's all I meant.
I also know at least 15 different poisons that grow right here in this marsh. Not that I would suggest 'tis at all related to cooking.
I get the hint.
Farewell, Mother. Do not forget the stew on the fire. I would hate to return to a burned-down hut.
Bah! 'Tis far more likely you will return to see this entire area, along with my hut, swallowed up by the blight.
All I meant was...
Yes, I know. Do try to have fun, dear.
Flemeth is so nonchalant about all that. Okay, there we have our little group. Alistair approves +4. And we can level him up now. Again, he's supposed to be the defender, so he will go, for now, 2 into Constitution, 1 into Strength. We will adjust that later. Master Combat Training. Templar Threaten. What's this? Warrior. The warrior tries to make each attack count, sacrifice and attack speed for bonus attack. Shield balance. Let's do that. So that's nice. Can we talk to Flemeth some more?
Yet?
Nope.
I hope you are not hanging about for some stew.
Could you answer some questions?
Questions. One would think a Grey Warden would be more interested in action.
Can I ask about your magic?
What good would it do you? You are no mage. It is sufficient that I have passed on my knowledge to Morrigan, and I pass her on to you.
Like a worn dress or an old pair of shoes.
Are you still here? You cannot give them away, apparently.
How long have you lived in the wilds?
Since before I was wrinkled and old. You may think it strange, but I was once young and beautiful, just as Morrigan is now. Yes, men desired Flemeth then, and some even killed for her.
Are you sure they didn't just die from horror? You don't seem happy about that.
I am not, nor was I then. It dictated all that followed. But enough. You have your task to complete.
What will you do once we are gone?
Have a moment's peace for once.
Fair enough.
I hear the peace of the grave is eternal.
Oh,
This
snap.
is the thanks I get for feeding you and putting up with you for this long. May your child one day treat you the same.
Feed me, she says. Without me, I swear, she shall be caked in dirt and eating tree bark inside of a month.
Do you have any advice?
About the Darkspawn?
About anything, really.
Then hear this. I laugh at a world full of stupid humans who ignore the Blight's evil and abandon their vigilance to chase mortal goals. Remember, it is up to you to destroy the Blight. Pray not for someone else to destroy it. It will always nip at your heels.
I have no more questions.
Then we are done. Now, if you will excuse me, I have some dinner to eat.
The famous Morrigan stew. Anything up here? No. And then we will leave there. But before we leave, I haven't had the chance to check the codex entries the last episodes. I do want to keep up with that, so it doesn't get too much at once. Hurlock. Taller than their Genlock cousins, the Hurlocks are roughly of human. Oh, we read that. Alpha Hurlocks are more intelligent and more skilled fighters, often serving as commanders or even generals. Emissaries. Hurlock emissaries have also been known to appear during a blight. These Darkspawn are the only ones recorded as being capable of human speech and are often capable of employing magic. Ogre. Towering over the Darkspawnkin, the massive ogres are a rare sight on the battlefield. Traditionally, they only appear during a blight, but someone records claim that ogres have been spotted in the deep roads, hunting alone or in small groups. At least one report by the Grey Wardens claims that an ogre was spotted alone in the Kokari Wilds in 919 Dragon, though it was weakened and easily dispatched. Up to 100 of these creatures can accompany a Darkspawn horde at any one time during a blight, often using their great strength to burst through fortification and demolish the front lines of the opposing army. They use brute force to charge their enemies like bulls, slam the grounds with their fists to shake enemies off their feet, and hurl giant rocks into the face of oncoming foes. Melee can be difficult against a giant that snatches a warrior up in one hand, crushing the life out of him or beating him into oblivion with the other hand. The nimble can try to wiggle his way free, or an ally can attempt an array of stunning blows on an ogre to free the comrade of danger. Grey Warden lore urges caution when slaying an ogre unless it is ensured that they have received a major wound to the heart or to the head or the heart. It is possible that they are laying dormant and will regenerate to full health within a matter of minutes. During a blight, most Grey Wardens recommend burning all darkspawn to ashes, dead ogres in particular. Items. Havard Aegis. Havard was Mafarath's closest friend. They were children together in the same Avar clan. They fought side by side in so many battles that Mafarath dubbed him Havard the Aegis. Better to have at his side than any shield. Mafarath brought Havard with him to meet with the Tevinters. It was unthinkable to stand before his enemies without his Aegis. When he understood that Mafarath was giving Andraste over to be executed, Havard, unwilling to draw swords against his friend and liege, placed himself between Andraste and the Tevinter soldiers. The Tevinter struck him down and Mafarath left him for dead. But Aegis was not easily destroyed. Havard lived and made his way, gravely wounded, to the gates of Minrathis to stop the execution. Too late. He found only the ashes of the prophet, left to the wind and rain. When his fingers touched the ash, his ears filled with song, and he saw a vision of Andraste, dressed in cloth of starlight. She knelt at his side, saying, "Rise, Aegis of the faith. The Maker shall never forget you so long as I remember." His wounds healed instantly, and with new strength, Havard gathered up Andraste's remains and carried them safely back to the lands of the Almari. I think that's a shield that we picked up. We will check that out in a second. A bunch of updates on characters. King Kaelan Theron. He fell in a battle alongside Duncan at Ostagar. Ser Cothrian. Some of us know what horror and loyalty are. Cothrian came to Logain's service the hard way. She belonged... Oh, so that's the woman that was at Logain's side. She belonged to a poor family and was out doing work on the farm when she saw a man on horseback being attacked by several bandits. She rushed to his assistance and found out belatedly that the man she saved was none other than the great hero Logain. Though she was hardly more than a child, he took her in, offering her a position with his soldiers, and she climbed through the ranks through sheer determination. Becoming the commander of Merrick's shield, Logain's elite soldiers, was the proudest moment of her life. So she, in the cutscene we saw when Logain abandoned the king, she was the one Logain issued the command to retreat. He was killed in the battle against overwhelming number of darkspawn at Osaga alongside King Kaelan, so I guess that confirms that they are all dead. Al-Eman Garin. Nobility does not exist without obligation. We owe all we have, even our lives, to our land and our people. As the maternal uncle of King Kaelan, Al-Eman is one of the king's most trusted advisors. Redcliffe, while not a large or especially wealthy part of Ferelden, is a critical strategic location. The fortress guards the western pass that leads to Orlais, as well as the major trade route with Orzammar. A well-respected man, though not the most charismatic, King Kaelan once said of him, "My uncle Eamon is a man everyone thinks well of, when they remember to think of him at all." Interesting. Flemeth. So that is what Morrigan's mother is. You are required to do nothing, least of all believe. Ages ago, legend says Ban Konobar took to wife a beautiful young woman who harbored a secret talent for magic, Flemeth of Highever, and for a time they lived happily until the arrival of a young poet, Ozan, who captured the lady's heart with his verse. They turned to the Chasen tribes for help and hid from Konobar's wrath in the walls until word came to them that Konobar lay dying. His last wish was to see Flemeth's face one final time. The lovers returned, but it was a trap. Konobar killed Ozan and imprisoned Flemeth in the highest tower of the castle. In grief and rage, Flemeth worked a spell to summon spirit into the world to wreak vengeance upon her husband. Vengeance she received, but not as she planned. The spirit took possession of her, turning Flemeth into an abomination, a twisted, maddened creature. She slaughtered Konobar and all his men and fled back into the wilds. For 100 years, Flemeth plotted, stealing men from the chastened to sire monstrous daughters, horrific things that could kill a man with fear. These Kokari witches led an army of Chesant from the wilds to strike at the Almari tribes. They were defeated by the hero Cormac, and all the witches burned, so they say. But even now the wilders whisper that Flemeth lives in the marsh, and she and her daughters steal those men who come too near. Morgan's mother saved the last Grey Wardens from death at the top of Tower of Ishal, but just who or what Flemeth truly is a mystery. Interesting. So I guess we are not quite sure what part of that legend is true about her. Loghain MacDear, during the Battle of Ostagar, he fled the field, leaving King Caelan and the Grey Wardens to die. Morgan. Of herself, Morgan says little. She does not deny being a witch of the wilds, but beyond that, everything about her is in question. Her mother claims to be Flemeth. If that's true, then Morgan might well be a very powerful witch, for the tales of the daughters of Flemeth tell of twisted, monstrous women who can kill a man with fear. She was made to accompany the surviving Grey Wardens. The payment Flemeth said for saving their lives at Tower of Ishal. We have some control, tutorial ones, then quest related. A pinch of ashes. The Kokari Wilds are rife with legend and myths that have amazed and confounded scholars since the fall of Ostagar in ancient times. One such mystery lies behind the tales of Astia and Nebunar, two young lovers who lived in Ostagar. The legend says that Astia grew up in the company of Gatharath, a spirit of the earth bound to an overhang on the bank of a lake in the Kokari Wilds. Gatharath began to fancy her, and they spent much of their days together, talking and laughing. Over the years, however, Astia became a woman and began to seek the company of men. When Astia met Nebunar, the two fell in love, and Astia hoped to bring her love to see her spirit friend. But the spirit, angered and jealous, bade her begone. Gatharath told her that she would never see it again until she brought her lover's ashes and sprinkled them over their spot. Astia was horrified, and she fled from the enraged spirit, but she began to miss Gatharath, and on the day Nebunar asked her to marry him, she cut her beloved throat, burned him, and brought his ashes to Gatharath, knowing that their marriage would forever sever her ties to the dear spirit friend. There are legends among the Chastened that Gatharath still haunts the lake, and that those who sprinkle the ashes of the deceased over the right spot can summon the spirit. In memory of the contract with its beloved Astia, Gatharath will grant a single wish and then vanish, never to be heard from again. A note is scribbled in the margin beneath the page. Marcus, I think this is real. If you take the ashes I gave you and scatter them over a pile of rocks on an overhang overlooking that half-sunken to winter dome, maybe Gatharath will appear and give you a wish. If the battle takes you there, I think it's worth a try. So I guess we can try that at some point. Okay, now I wanted to check because we have that one special weapon somewhere, I think. Isn't that better? Oh, that's two-handed. That's why he doesn't have it. Chainmail. Harvard Aegis. There it is. Plus 4% spell resistant. Chance to avoid missile attacks. It is, other than that, a little more fatigue, but overall better. And I can chant his arming cap. Plus 1 willpower, plus 10 mental resistance. That sounds pretty good. Looks interesting, to put it that way. Plus 2 magic, plus 10% cold magic. I think I want to keep her light. Oh, the Warden's Oath. Plus 2 Constitution. Yeah, that makes sense. Heirloom necklace. Oh, that's my heirloom necklace. Well, let's give that... Oh, Morgan has her own, though. Wallstone clasp. Well, then I don't need to give it to her. Just also provide that for her. So whenever I need to use that, I can do that. Let's have a look at where are the tactics. There. For Morrigan, oh, here we have a new one. Control party member. Enemy status. Usability. Shield pummel. And for Morrigan, what does Drain Life do? The caster creates a sinister bond with the target, draining his life energy in order to heal the caster. That's pretty good, yeah. Let's keep it that way. Little bit of a shorter episode, and we didn't get too far, but I wanted to catch up with all the codex stuff, and we had a lot of dialogue. So next time we venture out with our new party and get to the town of Lothering. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you still enjoyed it. A bit more of a lore heavy episode. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel. That helps me out a bunch and will bring you more content in the future. I will be back with more Dragon Age Origins tomorrow. Until then, have a great time.